right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the absolute most highly anticipated clashes in youth football right now. I mean, the stakes literally do not get any higher than this. It's May 19th, 2026. We're in Jeddah at the King Abdullah Sports City Hall Stadium, and we are staring down a colossal AFC U17 Asian Cup semifinal matchup, Japan versus Uzbekistan. Now, both of these squads are riding into this match with totally perfect records over the last 30 days. But how they actually got here and the specific players driving that success, well, they couldn't be more different. So we're going to dig into the raw data, the standout player performances, and the tactical blueprints to predict exactly how this massive game is going to unfold. So, right off the bat, this match is a classic clash of philosophies. On one side, you have Japan. They are this highly disciplined, unbroken tactical machine that just suffocates opponents with pure structure. But on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have Uzbekistan. They are basically the embodiment of resilient chaos. They play this high-octane, totally unpredictable style of football that has led to some of the most dramatic scorelines we've seen in the entire tournament. So the big question we're answering today is really this. Will Japan's clinical, calculated structure totally dismantle Uzbekistan, or will Uzbekistan's crazy ability to thrive in absolute chaos disrupt the Japanese machine? To really understand Japan, we have to start with their foundational philosophy. The Japan Football Association has this official Japan's Way documentation, and it beautifully illustrates how they operate. Think about a completely seamless cycle between being in possession and out of possession. Their entire system is anchored in this play vision. They don't just sit around relying on individual brilliance. They rely on a deep organizational strength that's been drilled into these players since they were first scouted in the youth system. It's this unified, forward-looking approach that's designed to transition flawlessly from defense to attack the very split second the ball changes hands. And when you see how this philosophy translates into their actual on-pitch strategy, it reveals this absolutely devastating trap press. This isn't just a bunch of guys running after the ball. It's a highly choreographed three-step trap. Okay, step one. When the opponent's goalkeeper starts the build-up, Japan deliberately doesn't rush the guy with the ball. Instead, they control the nearby passing lanes, leaving specific areas wide open as bait. Step two. The opponent is basically lured into making a pass into that quote-unquote open space, which Japan immediately closes down, forcing a panicked back pass. And then step three. The moment that ball travels backwards, boom, that's the trigger. A Japanese forward sprints at full speed, aggressively pressing while cutting off the next passing lane. It completely shatters the opponent's rhythm, forcing turnovers in incredibly dangerous areas. And ultimately, that creates immediate lethal one-on-one isolations for Japan's star attackers. You'll notice pretty quickly how this intense pressing translates directly into defensive discipline. When we analyze Japan's defensive guidelines, the massive emphasis on compactness and maintaining a proactive mentality is crystal clear. Because they're always anticipating the opponent's next move rather than just reacting to it, their defending is incredibly clean. And the stats back this up perfectly. In 5 intense matches, Japan has committed just 2 yellow card offenses. 2. I mean, that is an astonishing level of structural stability. They're out there dominating games without ever having to resort to desperate card-drawing tackles. They control the space, they control the tempo, and they stay out of the referee's book. But now, we're going to pivot the narrative completely. Because if Japan is a perfectly calibrated machine, Uzbekistan is a volatile force of nature. We like to call them the resilient chaos. While Japan carefully controls every single variable, Uzbekistan just embraces the sheer unpredictability of the game. They're an intensely resilient squad that doesn't just survive under extreme pressure, they actually thrive in it. Actually, when their backs are firmly against the wall, that is exactly when they are at their absolute most dangerous. And to really wrap your head around this chaos, you just have to dig into their track record. It is absolutely wild. Back in the 2025 AFC Final against host nation Saudi Arabia, they had 2 players sent off with red cards in the 40th and 45th minutes. Playing with only 9 men, they still managed to score, double their lead, and somehow win the championship. It's unbelievable. Fast forward to their recent knockout stage, and they edged past South Korea in a crazy 7-5 thriller. They score for fun, for sure, but they are incredibly vulnerable at the back, having conceded 8 goals in their last 5 matches alone. They leave massive gaps, they take huge risks, and they essentially rely on their incredible fighting spirit to simply outscore whoever is in front of them. So this clash of styles ultimately comes down to the individual player matchups. Driving Japan's clinical attack, we have Maki Kitahara, an absolute force of nature up front, playing alongside Rakudo Shirogawa, who is this midfield visionary that's already tallied 5 assists so far. They are the true engine of Japan's offense. Trying to stop them, though, is Uzbekistan's core, Uzbekistan, the creative midfield maestro who dictates their counterattacks and recently picked up 2 key assists, and Nematullo Rustamjonov, the reigning best goalkeeper of the tournament. Rustamjonov is famous for making these spectacular saves that immediately launch Uzbekistan's lethal counters. And when we're talking about Japan's attackers, we literally have to talk about this number 13. That is the staggering number of goals Japan has scored in just their last 5 matches. To put that into perspective, that's nearly double Uzbekistan's tally in that exact same period. And a massive chunk of that production comes straight from Maki Kitahara. The guy is riding a spectacular 5-goal streak across his last 4 appearances. Whenever Japan's trap press wins the ball back, it's almost always Kitahara who is isolating those defenders and just ruthlessly punishing them. The raw analytics synthesize this dynamic perfectly. Japan has generated 80 total shots compared to Uzbekistan's 62. But get this, the corners are 33-10 in favor of Japan. What you really should take away from this is a story of sustained, relentless offensive pressure. Japan essentially lives inside their opponent's defensive third. Meanwhile, Uzbekistan has 38 interceptions compared to Japan's 26. This shows us that Uzbekistan is constantly having to defend, frantically, breaking up plays and absorbing just wave after wave of attacks. The data paints a really clear picture here. Japan dictates the geography of the game, while Uzbekistan relies heavily on last-ditch defending and rapid breakouts. So based on that tactical breakdown and these crucial player performances, here is the definitive prediction for this semifinal clash. We predict Japan U17 to win in regular time. Their superior finishing quality, heavily driven by Kitahara, and their flawless tactical discipline should ultimately overpower an Uzbekistan defense that, let's not forget, literally just leaked 5 goals to South Korea. However, we are also predicting over 2.5 total goals and for both teams to score. Uzbekistan's attacking ambition, fueled by Sadirjanov, and their history of wild, high-scoring games means they are almost certainly going to find the back of the net. But at the end of the day, Japan's structured machine simply has too much firepower to be denied. Which brings us to our final thought. We have a team that thrives entirely on control, going head-to-head against a team that actively weaponizes chaos. Can Nematullo Rustamjonov and that leaky Uzbekistan defense somehow withstand 90 full minutes of Japan's relentless trap press? Or will Kitahara and Japan's unstoppable tactical machine march straight through to the final? It's the ultimate test of 2 totally diametrically opposed footballing philosophies, and I, for one, absolutely cannot wait for kickoff. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy the match.
So, did you find today's explainer useful?
Then definitely drop a like, share it out, and subscribe to join the family.
Tell us, what should we explore next? Stay well.